Hi everyone, and welcome to another session on the Success with Craig coaching shows. Do you know, guys, I really do hope that you appreciate that my mission here is all about contribution, to really help you believe in the possibilities that lie within you, around you and before you. Yeah, I'm over here in my villa in Spain. I'm just sat out on my patio, and you can probably see in the reflection it's quite cloudy today. There's no sunshine. Actually, it's just started raining. There's a little bit of a gentle breeze. The birds are still tweeting though. But I like to get outside, you know, because I think, you know, when you're in motion, it creates motivation. And what I want to talk to you today is really about what prevents motivation. What prevents you from, I guess, doing all that you have within you? Because I believe it's within your DNA to succeed. But what prevents us? Do you know? It's fear. I think fear can prevent us from actually going out there and doing what we need to do. Because what fear does is it creates a level of focus, and it creates a level of focus on something. And more often than not, you know, we're worried about, I guess, the fear of pain, the fear of loss, the fear of death, sometimes maybe the fear of success, or looking like a fool, or maybe not making the cut. And fear's really developed through having a level of uncertainty. And what I want to do today, get my words out, it's the rain, I'm sure. What I want to do today is hopefully give you some solutions to try and remove fear from your life. And it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take persistent and consistent perseverance of some simple fundamentals and implementing them in your life to remove uncertainty and replace it with certainty, to remove fear and worry and replace with urgency and faith. And that's really what today's show's all about. And one of the things I find is fear more often than not creates worry. And worry's not good for the soul, it's not good for our environment, and we can more often than not worry about not being good enough, or worry about finances, or sometimes maybe worrying about that first date or that first driving lesson. You know, I'm quite a confident guy nowadays, but I remember dates of the past, you know, back in my maybe late teens and early 20s, where you have this fear. You maybe go on a date and you're not really sure if you're going to connect, and you worry whether you've got, you know, what to say. But actually, when you relax, sometimes your greatest moments are the other side of fear. Sometimes your greatest moments come the other side of worry. So it's really about, I guess, removing that worry and fear from your life, because what's on the inside is what reflects on the outside. And by having fear and by living in a world of worry, you really do, you know, stop yourself from being true to your DNA, to your core, to live an abundant, positive and vibrant life which you deserve to live in this world of abundance that we live in. And the reason why we have this worry, maybe your first flight, or it's because, again, of uncertainty. And I remember doing a bungee jump back in, my late teens. I worked for a local magazine, and you know, I used to love adrenaline sports, and I still do. I love my wakeboarding and my snowboarding, and will always be open to try something new. And I remember going to do a bungee jump and travelling down to London. There was like this fear of expectation, and it developed worry. You know, am I going to go back to my hometown of Peterborough after this bungee jump? Am I going to get to write an editorial piece and follow up on the advertising content for this wonderful magazine I worked with at the time? And it was that worry and there was a guy that was travelling with me, and we were, you know, having a little bit of banter on the way there, and you know, having a few jokes with each other, but you could see that we were both getting quite edgy. And when we got there, it was next to the River Thames and the Battersea Power Station, which is now being converted into some, you know, luxury apartments. But back then it was a power station. We had the bungee jump crane, and I remember looking at the River Thames, and it's not pretty close up, I'm going to be honest with you. And you're going up in this crane, and I guess the worry had been eased slightly, because you're there and other people are jumping, doing their bungee jump, and it gives you a level of certainty that the elastic band, well, the bungee cord is not exactly an elastic band, is it? It's not going to snap, and you're going to survive. And I've always wanted to do one, so it wasn't going to stop me, but there was an element of uncertainty, an element of fear. And as you're going up in the crane, the crane's slightly moving and the wind's blowing. I had long hair at the time, and it's flapping all over, and I've got the video somewhere. I mean, it's going back years now. It's actually on a VHS video, and we're going up, and then all of a sudden the crane locks in at the top, and you're like, whoa, your gut drops. You know, when you go over on a fairground ride and you lose your stomach, you have that instant feeling. And this guy goes, right, okay, look, get up. I want you to put your toes over the edge. I'm going to count to 3 and then jump. Well, do you know what? At this point, fear set in. Worry really set in. And what happened was my feet are over and I've heard him go 1, 2 and I've just gone. Because I thought if I didn't go then, I was never going to go. And do you know what an amazing feeling as you plummet into the ground and all of a sudden the bungee cord stretches and you have this level of weightness. I don't know what the correct word is, but it's almost like your weightlessness of floating in the air, and the bungee stretches to the point where you literally stop and hover for a split second before you're flung back into the air. And I tell you what a feeling. And as I said earlier, sometimes your greatest moments are on the flip side of fear and worry. And what was fascinating, as soon as they'd catch me from swinging at the bottom, they'd grabbed hold of me and they lowered me into this giant beanbag, there was one thing that I wanted to do: get straight back up there and do it again. Because the feeling of elation, the adrenaline that was pumping through my body, through doing something new, through living right on the edge. And I've got a philosophy I've learned over the years: if you avoid living on the edge, you'll never have the edge. The edge of what, you might say? The edge of your comfort zone. Because I tell you now, everything that you've ever acquired, everything that you've acquired, whether it's a feeling, whether it's a loved one, whether it's something materialistic, more often than not, you've had to step out of your comfort zone to acquire something that's special to you. Because everything that we desire, everything that we tend to have ambition for, something new means we have to do something new. It's that philosophy, isn't it? You know, the sign of madness, you know, doing the same things day in, day out and expecting different results. That's living in your comfort zone. That's living within fear and worry. But it's about understanding. I mean, I've discovered, you know, we literally worry and have fear because we have that uncertainty, and we need to shift our mindset, because our thoughts create feelings and our feelings create thoughts, and we live our lives by them. So it's really about shaping your mindset so you can go from a position of uncertainty to certainty. Because when you're certain in the outcome, when you're certain of the result, you're motivated, you're propelled into action to do the things you need to do to get what you want to achieve. And when you're certain, there is no fear, there is no worry. So to create certainty, we need to remove fear and worry. Now, the polar opposite is really when you feel fear, when worry comes into your mind, your body and your soul, you need to mentally remove that with the power of your mind by literally visualizing, replacing fear and worry, fear and panic with urgency and faith. And that's exactly what I did on my bungee jump. I literally, he got up there, we locked in, and he went 1, 2, and I'm like, I'm going now. And I went, and I won't repeat to you what he said on the video, and maybe I should put it up because it's hilarious, right? And he's gone, whoa, what a crazy, and beep, 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 beep. Because I went on 2, because there was no way I was going. So I put that urgency, and I had that faith that, like everyone else before me, my cord was going to hold me. And I tell you what a feeling of elation, what an experience. So remember, the flip side of fear more often than not is commitment. So get committed to your goals, get committed to what's important to you. And we need to develop this level of God, my brain's gone. A level of certainty. If you can create a level of certainty through being solution orientated, remember, replacing fear and panic with urgency and faith, then it's about conditioning your mind. And I want to talk to you about conditioning your mind for a moment, because I'm not sure if you've ever come across the reports of when they, like scientific reports, and they've got a lot of athletes and people were top level in their support, top level in their arena, and this is what these coaching programs are about. This coaching contribution to you is about helping you becoming top level in your game, in your arena. But anyway, I digress. And what they did is they connected these athletes into muscle things all over their muscles. I don't know what the correct terminology is, but they basically connected them to a computer, and they got them to run their race. They got them to complete their sport, their activity, and they measured the muscle growth. They measured the muscle, how the muscles moved and how the brain triggered. They measured all the trigger points as they ran their race. And there's me, like, look, running on my chair here, and they measured everything there, okay. And then what they did is they took the same athletes, the same sports personalities, and they put them into a quiet room. They connected the same computer to the same muscles, and they asked them to visualize their race. They asked them to visualize their sport, to visualize them completing their game, their activity. And it's no surprise that the same impact on their muscles and on their mind they had through visualization as they did through completion. You speak to any major sports star, they talk about how they visualize the perfect goal, the perfect basketball hoop. They visualize, a golfer will visualize the perfect shot of him hitting that golf ball 300 yards to the edge of the green, or hitting it onto the dance floor and just knocking it in. Coincidentally, my villa's here on a golf course. Not that we've had any golf balls over this year yet, so that's good. Anyway, but I'm digressing again. And the key is the power of the mind. And I think more often than not, we forget that actually our thoughts create things. What we think about, we bring about. And how you believe and how you think is what you create in this environment. So I want to teach you to create absolute certainty through perfect practice. So what you need to do is you need to start visualizing your outcome. And just like a sports personality, or just like a successful business entrepreneur, if you can visualize your day, and there's so much that you can learn about the power of visualization and visualizing, you being where you need to be, becoming the person you want to become. If you can start to visualize that by basically practicing in your mind first. So we hear this common saying of practice makes perfect. Well, actually, perfect practice makes perfect. I remember listening to Andy Robbins some time ago, and he was talking about how to create certainty through removing that uncertainty to create an absolute certainty through the power of visualization, through perfect practice making perfect. So I want to help you remove fear and worry from your life. Fear, panic and worry, through replacing them with faith and urgency, through getting into motion, because motion creates motivation. And then if you can constantly, persistently, perfectly practice perfection. So get practice. Perfect practice will make perfect. And look, just remember, guys, you've got the DNA within you to grow. The flip side of fear is commitment. So get committed to living on the edge. Get committed to stepping out of your comfort zone. Get committed to expanding your potential through changing your mind and practicing visualization to get that perfect result and create certainty within your mind, body and soul. I hope this session's give you a little bit of an insight to help you raise your game, raise your expectations in the possibilities that lie within you, around you and before you. Have an absolutely sensational day.